What's up? This is Brooke with Breaking Down the Page with my friend Ro,
What's good?
and I wanted to show you. We're here to talk about the One Piece live action Netflix series. For my birthday, I got a Sandry
Oh
character from
shoot!
from a guy from high school. So he gave me this. I
So,
wasn't quite sure what to do. So this has been sitting on the shelf behind me. And I also grabbed, just off this was sitting on the shelf, the first Tenkaban of One Piece, which is the Romance Dawn arc, um, which covers the background with Shanks and Axan Morgan, all that stuff. Leading it gets into an introduction of. Does it actually have? Yeah, the buggy ship, the top hat, and all that. We'd actually get to see the ship in here.
right, right.
So yeah, One Piece just came out. Michelle and I just finished watching it today. So we had
Like,
like a few hours ago. We finished it this morning. We had 2 episodes left.
oh shoot. Okay, I just finished watching episode 3, so I'm still in the middle.
Okay, well, we all know what happens. But yeah, so
We
after
all know what happens.
And for some context for any guests that are decide to listen to this conversation, the I've read all of One Piece. The last time I would have watched these episodes would have been pre-pandemic. During the pandemic, I we started at episode 100 and watched up through about 850 up through Whole Cake Island, over a period of just like lunches over like 2 years.
Uh,
So I've watched this arc probably 5 or 6 times at least. the
Shoot.
the syrup village with Klahadore and Usopp and
Uh huh.
Mary. We last time I watched. Usually I skip those episodes whenever I rewatch, just because they're the weakest out of the East Blue in general. But and
That's
we can get into this if we're gonna walk through the episodes. That is not the. They are so much better in this iteration. But what's your experience with One Piece?
yeah. So I'm in a very non-committal relationship with One Piece. I feel like over the past couple of years since you first introduced me, I've like slowly watched a little bit. I watched a lot over the pandemic, naturally. But then I got distracted by other things.
Idiot.
Yeah, where did I leave off? I think the last episode I watched from the anime was, I mean, so Tony Chopper is part of the crew now.
Yep.
Um, it was like just after that. What was
Alabasta's
the
the That's the desert island is Alabasta. I feel like you might have got through that.
I don't know if I finished that. I might still be in the middle of that.
Okay, Tony Chopper's Drum Kingdom is his
Right.
arc. So then immediately after that they go to Alabasta. So that's where I kind of remember you being, which is
Yeah.
around episode 100, getting into like the 80s and 90s probably.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Somewhere around there. Yeah, and then obviously we watched the One Piece Red film together.
Oh yeah.
And that was great.
Which one of the guys that came over to watch with us, Kwaku, that was his only reference. He went with me to see the One Piece Red film.
Oh,
Was
really?
his one experience, and I think I don't think anyone else had been to like Film Gold or any of the other films, which those are all on Netflix. Being a Crunchyroll watcher, the I was like, here's where all the One Piece films are because they're not on Crunchyroll, but Crunchyroll is almost caught up in English. They're in the Wano country arc, and I'm just like,
Okay.
holy cow! Because last I knew, they were in Dressrosa, which was 200 plus chapters ago. So they've been putting in some work.
Shoot.
And also, for the record, this is the first time. Let's say first time I paid for Netflix in forever. I have I've always paid for Netflix. I haven't. I don't think I've ever used anyone else's account, but I say the first
Netflix
time I paid for it
was
because when I went to go put it in my email, it's like they don't have record of my account. And I'm like, come on, guys, like we were friends. You don't remember my email? It's not like that's changed in 10 or 15 years. It was like running into an ex that forgot that you had been together for like years. Like, would you have amnesia? What's your problem? So,
Rough.
yeah, so I put all that in, and so we paid for it before everyone came over after church. Because other than that, that's where I would have watched. Last time I would have paid for it would have been probably Daredevil season 2 or Daredevil season 3, or at least when I want to say
Wow.
we were paying for it through the Marvel stuff. We were still paying for it,
Okay.
and then eventually it was just like we dropped down to just having YouTube, Crunchyroll, Funimation for a while until all the Vic Mignogna stuff just and they were bought.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, the and then Amazon because like it's teamed up with free delivery or whatever. I don't know the last time I actually watched Amazon. Rochelle watches like British shows. But
Uh
anyways,
huh.
that's signed up for it, sat down to watch it. So what's your first your takeaways?
Yeah. So I definitely, man, I had to watch the second episode because as much like, yeah, I don't know what I was expecting for the first episode, but I wasn't that impressed by the first episode. Um, but then I also I think there were a couple of things again, like this is one of the most highly contested things right now because everyone's like, "Yo, One Piece is the first live action that's broken the anime curse," right?
I
Um,
saw a lot of YouTube videos saying that, a lot of comment sections.
yeah, and so I was like, "All right, let me see what this is about." And my whole beef with things is always the dialogue, but then I had to remember that I mean from reading the subtitles in like watching the anime, that's exactly what the dialogue was like. Um and so in that sense I was like, this is actually kind of legit. They like really recreated this very like it's very simplistic. Like it's not a lot of complex dialogue, you know what I mean? And so I think like they did that really well. And again, like going into the second episode, the casting for everyone has just been spot on. Um, I think like everybody who played their character really embodied them, and so I was really impressed by that. Like I think the impressions, and I mean, like everyone's saying, if it's good enough for Oda, it's good enough for us. Like
This is true.
he like picked everyone, and yeah, like even down to like the little mannerisms of each of the characters. I feel like the actors have really nailed it. So I think that's been really special. Um, and yeah, like it's funny because it does, now that it's a live action, it does like it feels like a pirate series.
It does
Um,
feel that it does carry itself more as a pirate series. I would say it doesn't even feel the same way, at least when you get in later episodes for
it does.
comparisons. It doesn't feel as much like a shonen series.
Uh huh.
There's definitely those like shonen elements, but the it doesn't have the fights that take 10 episodes. There was some where um spoilers, but they probably just for practical reasons they don't have Hachi, who is the uh two-legged six-armed octopus fishman that Zoro fights. That uses like
Uh,
that uses six sword style, and I'm like, I could see why he'd be difficult to pull off. Um, so
yeah.
I was
Uh huh.
disappointed to not see Hachi, but they have Kurubo
Yeah.
and whatever the other guy's name. I couldn't have told you their names before I heard them say them. But yes, it captures the spirit and the essence of what is One Piece in a way that going into it, I saw a lot of the YouTube thumbnails were like One Piece Netflix is good? Question mark. And I would not say it's there might be some things that could be adjusted ever, but it's not bad in any
Right.
way. And also I didn't realize this. I want to say it's got it's like 18 million per episode as opposed to Game of Thrones being 15 million dollars per episode or something like that.
Okay.
So like the money well spent across the board, and I think
For
most of that
sure. Yeah.
was used
Definitely.
on the sets. But yeah, there is that question of what is good dialogue, and
Uh-huh.
even if the dialogue, I wouldn't say there's a complexity to the dialogue whatsoever, and that's not a knock at it. Like you said, like in the first two episodes especially, and you get it more later on. I don't think you get it as much in 3 or 4 because
Uh-huh.
Usopp's goal is much more vague compared to other people. As we know,
Right.
and we hit this at the very end of the series, and it's like, what does everyone want? They do have the barrel moment where everyone puts their foot on a barrel before they go to the Grand Line, and like this is what they want to
Yeah.
do. Luffy wants to be king of the pirates, #1 swordsman, chart the world, find the All Blue and Usopp, which is this. I still totally love this, but he says, I want to be a brave warrior of the sea. And that's not
Mm-hmm.
something that he had said, I think, up till that point in the story. And that's something
Right.
that's so different from all the other characters as you explore the story, especially as he meets the spoilers. There might be spoilers, but other One Piece. Um, but you've met Kokashi and Yakashi, or whatever the names of the giants are on Little
Yes.
Garden,
Uh-huh.
where it's like he meets the giants of Elbaf, and
Yeah.
that starts to build his dream, getting to know the
Right.
giants and befriending them, because that's a major story point as the series goes. Bro, you need to keep watching someday, or read it. Just because reading's faster than go back. I kind of want to put together a list of episodes for friends to go watch. Be like, hey, in case they didn't quite cover this fight as good as the character moments aren't as good
Uh-huh.
as just how the fights happened in the comic. So it's like, here's some episodes to go watch to round out the characters a little bit more and their fighting styles. In particularly they uh, Usopp gets his spotlight in one of the final episodes, but it's not nearly as good as it was in the comics,
Uh-huh.
where his like fishman fight in the comics is we. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you. I don't necessarily want to give you my commentary on the final episodes because you don't really get much. You don't really get much of Usopp, and we get him in episode 3, right? That's where I think episode 3
Yeah.
is where they show up at Syrup Village. All right, so definitely first episode. There was a lot to carry there. I'm appreciating how they're doing the flashbacks
Oh
and
yeah. 100%.
tying those into the stories as much as they might enter with just. I would agree with some of the commentary that some of that camera angles used on characters and the facial close-ups. It kind of works. It's not the strongest part of the series.
Uh-huh.
And typically they do that and kind of go into the backstory. You have you haven't got Have you got the Zoro backstory yet or no?
Yeah, so that happens in episode 3.
Okay,
And yeah, so him and the girl, I keep
Karina.
forgetting her name. Yeah,
Karina.
Queen Anne. Which is funny because I was watching a video on someone who is like convinced that Queen's dad killed her, so that a woman wouldn't inherit the dojo.
I've never heard that. Is that someone that from watching the series or something from the Netflix series, or is this from someone elsewhere?
This is someone who they were talking about it from the anime,
Okay.
uh, but I mean they were saying it was a lot more obvious in the manga that the dad deliberately like off Kuina because he said he would never have a woman running the dojo, and then took in Zoro to be like his apprentice to then um, take over the dojo someday.
That's interesting. Just because you know Tashigi, there's very much Tashigi. Very much looks like Karina, the girl that's with Smoker that we meet in Logtown.
Oh, that's true.
So people have
Hmm.
always wondered if could that actually be her, but she has amnesia or something. So with that theory, it's like, did her father just fake her death and put her into like have her join the Navy or something? I don't know. I like
Hmm.
that. I like that we got that we did get the swords named Wado Ichimonji. After that episode, there's a moment where Zoro holds the sword and he holds it
Uh huh.
blade facing towards Shimotsuki and towards his sensei. And one of the guys with us that was watching with us, it's a black belt in martial arts. I'm not sure what, but he does boxing and kickboxing and stuff.
Okay.
And after the episode, he got up and it was just like, man, I can't believe they did. I need to go see that again. I think he held the sword wrong. It's like everything was so good, but then they had the sword was wrong and how you bow to people. It's like you always have the sword blade facing yourself, not the other person when you present it to them. Then the next episode saw that.
Interesting.
So we had people over. And I didn't know. Man, people didn't get here till like we didn't start watching till like 3 because people went to Costco and ended up eating longer there. And
Yeah.
Rochelle got food and came here. And people ended up staying for 4 episodes. It's like, you guys want to keep watching? All right, let's get. And it was, I think people left around like 7:30. I was like, should we go get pizza? Like pick up pizza? And people are just like, no, we'll just watch one more episode and do our own thing. We gotta cook food for the week or leftovers. And but I was like, holy cow, we actually got through 4 episodes. This is amazing. And people and everyone was enjoying it, which was uh, very surprising. The surprising just because I didn't.
Yeah.
It's like I wanted to get my hopes up. Just kind of like I got my hopes up after seeing a previews for Flash. Then we watched Flash a few weeks ago, and it was
Um.
just. Have you seen Flash,
No, I don't feel like I want to though.
bro? If you ever want to like go dig through garbage, you should go watch the Flash.
That's what I
It's
thought.
like oh wait, do I see like a PS like 3 down there? Maybe I'll try to go grab that out of all this garbage. And it's like, oh, it's like, did someone throw what? Oh, that I bet I can fix that Xbox One that's at the bottom of the garbage. You kind of crawl through and you get this one thing that works. It's like I can fix it, but then you're just covered in garbage.
Yeah, that
It
sounds about right.
it was the spiritual successor to the Joel Schumacher Batman Forever from the 90s.
Oh.
Like
Ugh.
those might be better. Um, those and as much as I want to like Michael Keaton has an affinity towards flying animals, his characters,
Uh-huh.
because he played Batman, he played the Vulture, he played Birdman, he played the main character of Porco Rosso, which is the Studio Ghibli film, and he's a flying pig in a plane,
Oh,
and it's just like, like there were moments, but the CGI was bad, the writing, the characters weren't consistent.
yeah.
It was there's so much that could have done for him to travel through times. They literally just had him running backwards, and it looked so dumb.
Yeah, that
Like
sounds
you
terrible.
should look. I should honestly just like show you a clip so we can get your live reaction, but I don't feel like taking the time to do that. It is.
Yeah, no, you don't have the time for that. I'm very interested. I haven't the one who I do want to go watch is Blue Beetle.
It's probably mid at best. I haven't. People are like, "You want to go see it?" I'm just like, "No." We did the Barbenheimer thing, and both of those were actually really enjoyable. So some
Bobby was incredible.
yes, it was the
I haven't gone to watch Oppenheimer yet, but
Oppenheimer was also really good. Not my favorite Nolan flick, but so a lot of the people that came over yesterday, at least two of the other people, Kwaku and Peter, are also were here for One Piece, and then we went and saw those together. So it's been
oh, that's
fun.
right.
We have a community that likes to go out and watch movies. Before we did a Tuesday small group, like Tuesday men's group for everyone at the church. We had been doing Tuesday nights because those are cheaper at the theaters. So we'd get
Right.
like and get college students to come. We'll get like 10 to 20 people all going to watch a movie together, which is just
Uh-huh.
amazing as far as community building in the church. And we get different people coming in, coming out. I wanted. What was your, in general? What's your take on the music or the soundtrack? I don't know, as an audio engineer or as a music file.
Right. It is. It's so interesting because I mean, obviously, like they have like the cinematic remakes of a lot of the One Piece themes,
Like
right?
just barely. Like they have it, and it's just like, come
Yeah,
on,
it's like for the
give me,
slightest moment.
give me
Um,
more. I need
uh,
more of that. It's like
what they
that's why
want
I watch One Piece. It's
the
like,
track. Yeah,
so what's your take? The
I think it's a good soundtrack, and I mean, especially again because this like they're making a pirate series, and I think they're doing a good job of creating that atmosphere with the soundtrack that they've made and the little pieces they've incorporated from the original soundtrack. I think they're doing a good job with that. And as much as it's not the full track that we'd like, I think the way that they've incorporated it into a very cinematic pirate-esque theme score is really well done. So I appreciated that. I mean, yeah, I'm still waiting for them to finally bring in the dun 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 dun.
well, so am
Um,
I. Let's just, yeah. I don't really think it was there.
but I feel like that's something they're probably gonna say for the end. You know what I mean? Because that's One
No,
Piece. Like everybody knows. I feel like
we
that's the
we
one. Like,
we do. It's just not a thing. It's very sad. So spoilers.
oh,
Just
it's not
no,
lame.
no. We do get the walk to. I'm gonna go with the Japanese Kokoyashi Village, not just Coco Village. We get some of that, but we don't get that same level march. It's the anime just nails that so much better. No offense to all the One Piece people out there.
Right. And again,
They did an awesome job. Just see
yeah,
that those episodes were great. When it comes to
for sure.
how do you measure up to the anime? Good luck. Good luck. Like
Right.
there's those moments that I think they're just not going to. There's going to be stuff that's going to be better in the live action. There's potential to be better than the anime. And there's stuff that, because it's
Yeah,
anime, is going to just be better. Um,
exactly.
and there is part of me. I literally, when we finished, I tried to go. Have you seen the Netflix trailer? The Netflix dub trailer?
No, I haven't.
Sorry, the Japanese dub. So the Japanese dub uses the voice actors.
Okay, okay, I knew that. Yeah,
So
I've seen
so
people.
I looked to see that up, and we don't have an option to watch the Japanese here in the United States. It's like we get like Chinese or whatever,
Oh,
we get like Spanish and Italian. I'm just like, guys, like I want an anime cut that uses the Japanese voice actors and that uses original soundtrack. Just do a special cut for us, please. Like that
just
would
change
be
the audio.
like all the normies can watch the normal version. Let the weebs have the weeb version. I don't know.
The Weeb version. That's incredible.
The
But I mean,
ultra fan version.
on that thing of like, there are certain things that the live action just isn't going to be able to do. I think, like, that's just the truth of it. Like, you have to make sacrifices, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, and I mean, as much as that's sad, I think they did make the right choice with the things they did cut out. Because, like, can you imagine them trying to recreate the scene of like Kuro like destroying like 1,000 Marines and like
Oh,
half a ship?
how they did that stuff was great. I was when it comes to the soundtrack, I like elements of it, and it warmed up on
Um,
me. But I don't think it's ever gonna get there towards where the original soundtrack is. Rochelle didn't like. Oh wait, I don't want to go into that without you getting your kind of take on some of that stuff. No, when it came to how do you consolidate arcs,
yeah,
they set just a new standard of how to do that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially when it gets to Syrup Village. We paused or in between episodes, which also just I was pretty much silent the whole time, apart from whenever I might have been sniffling and crying and trying to hide it from all the other men
Uh-huh.
from church. Um, so I'm like, I was gritting my teeth, but it's because I was trying not to just ugly cry like I was Luffy or something.
Yeah.
Uh, it wasn't quite that bad, but it was. There's this emotional when it comes to how emotional One Piece makes me feel. I was getting that from the show, not necessarily at the same moments, possibly from different moments, but when it comes to
Uh-huh.
what is One Piece is a story that I would assume anyone can really connect with, but
Mhm.
that gets to fundamentally what are the things that makes us human, and I suppose not animals, which is
Yeah.
in the first episode where it gets into talking about what people's dreams are, what is freedom, what does it mean to be free
Mhm.
versus a slave to someone,
Yeah.
and there's I'd have to rewatch the first episode to kind of like write down what were some of those statements that were made, but there were the stuff along those lines of is where One Piece is at its strongest and giving people a much deeper character drive, like making them such driven characters to go do the things they
Mhm.
need to do.
Mhm.
Even when they're very much like, I'm not going to be part of your crew. I'm not going to be part of your crew until I think Luffy's resolve and his nature is. In the later episodes, I was really thinking about him as a Christ figure, and
Mm.
this level of that he's always had, this aloofness towards feeling a particular way about people. Why is it going to end in 10 minutes?
That is weird. Why is it doing that?
We've only been, I thought we had like an hour.
Yeah, same.
Interesting. I used to pay for it. I paid for like the full time for like a year or two and then just wasn't doing a lot of Zoom calls. Now I need more.
Anyway.
What is, what do the characters want and how is that being portrayed? And so as
Mhm.
there's those moments where it's like if people are being mistreated, he doesn't care necessarily who they are or their background, and there's this level of treating people with equality of
Yeah.
which not to say that's not like that's not groundbreaking for fiction or something, but his level of did you see the scene where they're changing clothes? They put on different clothes in the syrup village,
Yes.
where he's just
Uh-huh.
like, "How do I look, Luffy, in this dress?" And he's like, "You look like Nami."
Right.
And there's this seeing people for who they are and not the what how they change their clothes or how they'd shift and
Yeah. Or
um
their appearance or
yeah,
whatever.
their appearance, and to the point of usually you'd be nice and be like, oh, you look nice, and he
Mhm.
doesn't he doesn't he finds those things, he doesn't even find them trivial, he just doesn't even notice them, right? But as soon as there's a problem, he's all about fixing it. And then also we get into those larger questions of is very surprising we get Garp, Colby, and Helmeppo all the way through, just so you know.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Because in the comic, we we get a cover story with Colby and Helmeppo and Garp and their training and Bogard. Bogard. Uh, he's the guy with the top the wearing the suit with Garp, the gray suit. Which
Okay.
let's just say like, and some of this stuff is especially emotional because Garp just had the biggest throwdown with pirates we've ever seen him have in the comic in the last like 6 weeks.
Okay.
Like massive, massive throwdown, just groundbreaking story wise. And so to see Garp here and getting to see like his this version of Garp was it was everything I could have wanted out of a Garp.
Oh yeah.
He might be my favorite rendition of a character, probably. A lot of people are commenting on how Helmeppo is actually terrific compared to the comics. This take on Helmeppo and Colby, and we've honestly just never had that much of these characters. And also,
Seriously.
we kept thinking like Colby looks like you, but shaven. Bro, you need to get a pink wig. Just get a
and
yes.
the round glasses.
But yeah, like facial shape, and this reminded us of
That's,
you. We kept thinking about you when we were watching.
I appreciate that, man. Colby and Luffy's dynamic in this series is so much better. Like, as much as it was good in like the bond that they had in the anime, like seeing the tension of like both of them trying to do the right things but just being on different sides is incredible.
1 second. All right, we can go ahead and what? Sorry,
What happened?
nothing. It's fine. Continue speaking, please.
Um, but yeah, I mean, even more, another character dynamic that I really appreciated this time around was Nami and Kaya. I feel like their conversation, um, and the way that that developed into Nami wanting to now protect her was also super powerful. Um, because again, like Nami's the kind of person who's had to fight her way through her life the whole time, and she's only seen rich people as the villains because they only ever want gain for themselves. But now her talking to Kaya, and Kaya's like, no, I want to be able to give as much away as possible, and I want to be able to help people. What's the point of having all this stuff if I can't be of use to anyone? And like that whole exchange was, man.
That was a terrific take. It very much felt like. 1 second. This is just gonna be annoying. I was gonna try to upgrade the zoom. I'm trying, but I'm like, what's mine? Continue. So yeah, it felt like Nami was like pretty harsh. She was so judgmental of
Yeah,
people, which is uh totally it's understandable to a degree.
yeah,
But
and
it
I feel
felt
like that's pretty in line with her at the beginning of her arc.
oh, that's why. Sorry, I'm still loading in.
You're good. And I mean, I think the most incredible thing about Nami's whole arc is like, she's never been able to trust anybody else because she can't even trust herself. Like, she's constantly double crossing people just to make ends meet, right? And so I think to actually have that moment of like trust between her and Kaya was really profound.
There were those moments when just overall in the series with how they addressed the character arcs, because none of the story really takes place in the house. And so when it came to okay, there the thing stopped. All right, now I don't have to worry. It's annoying, as embarrassing as that is to have showing. They consolidated all the stuff into smaller areas that really trimmed the fat from the series. And there's a level of that the fat and the comedy of the series is important and makes the series endearing, but it also for people that get the more you have, because typically they would stretch one chapter into one episode. Because if they don't do that, you end up with Naruto or Bleach, where you get 2 chapters into one episode, and then you get to filler arcs, endless filler arcs, and no one wants that. But One Piece
Right.
it's annoying to watch because it's like here's 7 minutes of the intro and what has happened in the last 100 chapters of One Piece. And
Yeah.
so being able to actually develop those relationships with Kaya, where pretty much everything else in the series takes place outdoors. Usopp catches Kuro talking about the fact that they're bringing back the Black Cat Pirates. The Black Cat Pirates show up. They're going to show up at the beach. Usopp, Luffy, Nami all go to the wrong beach. They end up pouring oil down the ramp to the hills of the beach, and Luffy falls down it and can't get back up, which then gives time for Zoro to get lost, and everyone else shows up at the other beach, and they just kind of get their butts kicked, and eventually Luffy shows up. So that we were explaining this to everyone that was watching, just like, you guys have no idea how much better this is. And also, Klahadore looked in Captain Kuro, like, there is definitely some YouTubers that don't like his plot idea, and then killing people at the end doesn't make much sense. But because it's like, why would he want to kill them now if they're supposed to sign stuff over? Why is it that we could have had a little bit more fleshing out as to why is he just turning to killing stuff if he's legally going to be given stuff? It works until you think about it too much.
Right.
I think is more of the issue. But yeah, getting that time to actually get to meet Kaya and getting this different perspective from her and her family with the shipyard, all of that, just brings so much more depth to that arc. We don't get Usopp as much of a coward, would be one of the downsides. He's not nearly as much of a coward in the series.
Right.
Nor do we get oh yeah, we don't have the Michael Jackson guy. There's the Michael Jackson guy, the hypnotist. Like, he was he was a part of the arc.
That's so true.
Who's moonwalking through town.
Yeah, and
he later ends up becoming a Marine with Full Body. So Full Body is the guy that was got into a fight on the Baratier. Oh, you haven't seen that yet. So he's just one of the... Originally, Full Body showed up at the Baratier. But yes, and also I was surprised with... I'm going to see if I can look up the pictures for comparison of... see if I can actually Google this and have a character show up. Okay, so I guess I need to share my screen. Can you see my screen with Sham?
Uh-huh.
So this is what Sham looked like in the comics. The girl.
Okay.
And so I was when it showed the hair, it's like I had to think about it. I was like, is this the same character? And then I was like, oh wait, the hair is that it's stylized to look like
a cat.
And I think they really nailed him, Bucci.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was very just surprised with... It's like they went with it, and that's one of the... we didn't get necessarily both of them versus... Oh, no, we did get both of them versus Zoro. Although he had swords. He does in the show, he just has claw hands. Which I was hoping for, but they gave him little knives in the live action, which is fine. It makes a bit more sense. But yeah, I was... Continue your thought.
I'm not gonna lie, that particular fight scene, as much as like the choreography was pretty good, it was a little underwhelming for me.
Yeah.
And again, like, I understand, like, that's probably part of a lot of the limitations. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't particularly impressed by that part.
Yeah, and that's actually fair to One Piece, because no one watches... One Piece isn't known for its fights. In general, in the comics. There's really good fights, and if anything, as a writer, as a choreographer, I probably fall more in line with One Piece fights, where which is probably similar to, although Hajime no Ippo actually has really good fights, but they feel very organic, more organic than say like Naruto or Bleach, where those
Right.
are about concealing, or Hunter x Hunter concealing special abilities until the time that you can really use them. Where in One Piece,
Mhm.
there's a level of that kind of happening, but it's nowhere near as, oh, that's not even my final form, like from Dragon Ball Z or something. But yeah, there's definitely limitations. I think Zoro sliding on the ground fighting with swords is a bit too much for me.
Right.
I kind of get why they're doing it, but overall, like in the first episode, the fight with the Marines, like it was fun. The
That
is
was good.
as far as limitations going in fighting, like I thought all of it was at worst adequate. At best, it was just fun and great.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like I wouldn't want it to turn into something like choreographed Star Wars lightsaber battles.
Yeah, no, we don't want that.
In Luffy, um, I feel like I accept the gum power special effects. It
Same.
works and was enjoyable.
They did it.
There wasn't really any CGI that bothered me. That
Mhm.
sounds so like mid. It didn't bother me, but it was a lot of it. Like I feel like the crowd we were watching, we were getting a lot of laughs from the group. It was just a lot of fun. More
Yeah.
reaction on our point than if we went to a theater, which I think says a
Right.
lot. Like to think about in sitting down with, I think there was 6 people total. We had 4 people
Uh-huh.
over. Like we all enjoyed it and we wanted to keep watching. There wasn't any sense of like, oh, I'm bored, I need to go. It was all like, because when people got there, I joked it's like we could be done by 10, but we ended up watching 4 episodes.
Yeah, and again, like you said, I think the pacing for this was also really well done. Like they managed to keep things moving steadily enough, but still give us enough information um, for like the fans to be satisfied, but then also to keep new people interested in like wanting to find out more about the characters that they've just met. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I wanted to have so many comments during the show, but it's like a lot of the background stuff. They just kind of brought that up. The fact that Luffy was, you might not know this yet in the series, but they maybe in episode 3 or 4 they mentioned that Luffy is Garp's grandson.
right, I was trying to remember
We
if
don't,
they mentioned that in the arc, like from the point that
bro.
I am,
I
but I
don't.
don't remember.
I don't think we get that. I'm gonna look it up real quick, but I'm as best I recall. So testing my memory. Uh, best I remember, it was after Ennie's lobby. Garp shows up, and that's what the Water 7. That's where we find it out, which is,
Okay. Yeah, so
or at
I'm
least
not
that's
there
when the
yet.
world found out. But I'm pretty sure that's when. Um, pretty sure that's where it was. So, and that's episode like 300 plus episodes in. And in that case, Luffy destroyed. They raided a giant naval like prison base to rescue Nico Robin, and then Luffy and all them are hanging out and getting rest at the kind of base they were at before in the island before at a Water 7, and then Garp shows up with the Marines, and that's the first time Luffy sees Colby and Helmeppo. And we like you don't even recognize them for the most part when they show up and they fight Luffy and Zoro, and it's like these guys are actually almost formidable. Almost, they're
Wow.
still way below Luffy and Zoro at that point. But I didn't even recognize Helmeppo. He wears this like cool like Cyclops visor type thing,
Wow,
and
that's crazy.
and he fights with 2 blades. And so to get that context early in the series, I was like, they gave it. I don't even have to tell people. Like I didn't want to spoil stuff for people as we were watching. There were, during the episode breaks, might, just talk about the difference of Captain Kuro and just the difference of the arc. I did comment to Rochelle while we were watching, like, they went dark with the Buggy the Clown stuff. Like, with all the people being chained up in the top it, like, that was, oh, wow. I was like, they went really dark, really fast. But we get worse in the series.
Yeah, and I think again, yeah, the actor choice for Buggy was also incredible. And it's funny because I was trying to figure out where I'd seen that dude before, and he was Deke from freaking Agents of Shield.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't remember Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a whole lot because that was 8 years ago.
yeah, that was a train wreck. And so I was like, I'm so glad that he has this redeeming opportunity for himself.
Yeah, we had comments about the nose. The nose looked amazing. Out of all the
Yeah, it
things,
was so good.
and even having like, because in the comic, I don't think we ever see the nostrils, like where he breathes, and to actually see those and just have the nose shape. It was those comments at the beginning of like, this is the problem. It's like, did you just say nose? Like,
Yeah.
oh, that was terrific. His ability to pop his body
Oh,
apart, the chop powers, those worked. It was great. It seemed a little contrived that they already had all those open chests there to put his body into. In the comic,
I
there might have been some chests there. The entire fight was outdoors,
yeah,
so but in general, Nami tied up his body parts was what happened in the anime,
right.
and then Luffy did the bazooka to knock him to like the
Yeah.
next island. But yeah, it
I'm kind of
was what?
I'm sad we didn't get any actual like buggy ball footage
Oh
because that
yeah,
would have been.
yeah.
But
We didn't get the buggy ball. We didn't have the entire episode about a dog protecting like a doctor's office, which I was fine with.
that's right.
I did want the lion. I did want the lion. We didn't actually get the Komaji. I think that's his name,
Oh,
Komaji. Fight
yeah.
with on the unicycle with Zoro, which is fine. The Mister Seven fight, bro, in episode 1.
That
That
was crazy.
that's not in the comics, but that's talked about. So they talked about Baroque Works, and I don't remember Baroque Works ever being mentioned in the comic until we get to the Grand Line and we get to the first island. As far as I know, the first time we actually heard Baroque Works, and that's where Zoro talks about, oh yeah, number 7 came to get me. That whole scene was just terrific and perfect
Because wait,
introduction.
in the anime, they ran into Baroque Works on Little Island in the little garden.
Yes, but they ran into them on the island before that. Let me look up the island name.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. Because that's where they picked up.
Cactus Island. That's where
That's
they
the one where they the Princess of Alabasta.
that's where they picked up Vivi. Spoilers. Just kidding.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And also
Uh-huh.
that's where we met Nico Robin.
Yes, that's right.
So we met number 3 and 4 there, but that yeah. So in which we even saw Vivi before then with we saw the frog guy, Miss December or whatever, Miss Christmas and whatever in number 8, I think. They were at Laboon when they first got to the
Okay.
Grand Line with Crocus. They were there, and then
Wow.
they all got ambushed at Cactus Island when they all like got knocked out from drinking like the drinks. And then Zoro wakes up and he's fighting everyone. Then Luffy wakes up and it's like, Zoro, why are you attacking the people that fed us? And we get a Zoro versus Luffy fight.
Oh yeah,
And
I
then they,
remember
they
that now.
introduce the black guy that flings his boogers that explode.
Yeah.
Number 4, whatever his name is. Which I'm just
Yeah.
like, if you're gonna make it into live action, what do you do with something like that? Do you just go with it? Do you just play along? Because it's like they did Buggy. Like Buggy looked like a great clown pirate. It was, I his hat was almost a bit too much for me, but it's like I know that they had the hat at the time. There was not quite Uncanny Valley. It was almost in that scary Uncanny Valley place, but I could accept this as the there was enough grounding with the world that these character designs worked.
Yeah,
And I
for
think
sure.
that's the just the level of adventure and the diversity of the world, in the settings, getting the towns. We didn't get. I really wish we would have got the lady that kind of beats up Luffy that that Garp leaves her with. We never get her in the series.
Uh,
But I can't think of her name. But oh my gosh, there's you need to get caught up in One Piece. You just need to like read the last like 50 chapters. Just
which
read the
I
current
found
arc, bro. Egghead.
apparently there's this thing called One Piece,
Yeah.
which is this website where they just like cut out all the filler and just give you like the necessities for the arc.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I've not checked it out. But yeah,
Part of
the
me just wants to do that because like I still want to follow the arcs in the anime, but like I'm just really behind.
it might make sense to do that, and then it's you could always go back and rewatch certain sections for like because there's arcs like oh
What happened?
I think Michelle went to the store. Um, I don't want to have to cut it off. What's your timeline look like?
What do you mean? Like, am I about to go to bed?
Yeah. What time is it there?
It's almost 11.
It's lame. I went to bed at like 2 last night.
You're a sociopath.
I am, and I have to, especially it was a holiday here. We're celebrating that everyone worked, so we give them one day off. It's called Labor Day.
Were you guys good capitalists? Did you go and buy sales?
No.
Shame on you.
We watched One Piece. So it was, well, I guess no. Today that was yesterday. Today Rochelle went to the store. We were at my parents' house all last week for a few different reasons, and so we'd gone to Costco before then, and it kind of we had enough food here to eat. We brought some to my parents' house. Didn't really need to go shopping or anything. I hope she didn't buy a whole lot from the store, but all right. So having everyone chained up and having to like go through the farce of I want to know like did they just march people out to leave and eat and stuff, or did they? As I sit here and think about it, there's some logistical questions that I have. Did they bring people food? What if people had to go to the bathroom? Like what? Oh, did you sketch the jokes with? Are you probably? I think it was in episode 3. Zoro talking about the toilets broken or whatever. They're just like, there's
Oh
there's
yeah.
no toilet in the ship. I was like, that's actually pretty great. It never felt like they were really trying to force jokes, which was great. There was some funny dialogue and just character interactions, but it just felt natural.
Yeah.
As natural as Luffy isn't a natural type of person,
Right. Right. Exactly.
it's like I think about other shows that have come out, the newer shows that we watched, and just from the acting to the world, I was like, this is a show that it's very solid overall compared to other fantasy shows that have come out in the last year. Like big show,
No,
like
seriously.
I would say it's definitely better than whatever the Lord of the Rings thing was. It's better
Oh, Rings of
than
Power.
Rings of Power. It's definitely better because that was a big budget thing. It's definitely better
Totally.
than Wheel of Time as a whole. Or I would say Wheel of Time would be a very comparable franchise type thing.
Okay.
Um, apparently, no, I don't want to go into that. Just other criticism I was thinking about. Um, yeah, the They did a lot in the first episode. Oh, I loved seeing the mayor. Like the fact that they have characters look like the characters in the comic that are just so bizarre, like the mayor from that has the dog, and we get to see him in a little bit of interaction. I was like, I really appreciated it. I appreciated so much of the Easter eggs, and that they were willing to, bro. They were willing to actually put, if this was the X-Men series, I feel like they would have put them in the yellow suits that were finally, after 20 plus years, getting Wolverine in a yellow suit in Deadpool 3.
Right.
And apparently, Hugh Jackman, his arms will be fully covered, but I believe that's just to protect his skin from being in the sun, kind of like skin cancer prevention or having issues with that in the past. And I was like, you know what?
Right.
I can accept this minor difference. And it still looks good.
It does. Yeah, it looks incredible.
And just, there's that, I feel like there's, we watched one review and he's like, how do you honor something without becoming a slave to the original material? And they really nailed that. It is bizarre and it doesn't feel, it is now the new mainstream. It was the number one streaming show in 80 countries.
Wow.
Like, which there's part of me and I'm like, we shouldn't really not expect that given the popularity as a franchise, but I'm going to assume Rings of Power and other shows didn't quite pull that off. But those probably also don't have the worldwide recognition. If you think about, I could see a lot of English fantasy series or just stuff coming out of America or just the major English-speaking countries not being as big of a thing across the globe.
Sure.
But this
particularly in our generation, right? Like, there's a lot more people that are right now anime fans more than high fantasy fans.
Yes. I'm really kind of curious what those numbers are like because Brandon Sanderson knows how to sell some books.
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about him. Also, real quick, my laptop battery's on like 8%, so I will probably have to bounce.
Okay, well, we got 3 minutes and it'll wrap us up at like an hour. So, which is probably way more than what's needed. Randomly, I had 2 people subscribe to my channel this last week, and I'm like, you're the last thing that I posted, so it must have been you. And that was like a month ago, was the Ro Reacts.
Yo, that's so funny.
I am planning to post more. It's a lot of travel and just other stuff. I will say, watching the anime, and we're like at the end of Wano, like literally final punch of Luffy cliffhanger. And I was just like, I need to go fight my Kaido. I need to go fight my Kaido and just like get this writing and stuff published and just figure it out. And then it was like, oh, it's a holiday tomorrow, so I should hang out with my wife, I guess.
I guess I'll live a normal.
I was ready, and then today I was like, we finished One Piece. I'm just like, I don't know what to do with the rest of the day because I was gonna do work, and now it feels weird. I was totally like hyped up to sit down and start writing because I was like, I'm not planning anything for the week. And then it's like, oh, there's a holiday. I should hang out with my wife. I love hanging out with Rochelle, of course, but I'm ready to get some writing done, and I just didn't feel like turning on the writing brain today. But I was like, I can totally talk about One Piece today.
Amazing.
So, final comments. Final thoughts.
Okay. Yes, I'm excited to finish this series. Like, they've definitely, yeah, like I was saying, the pacing has definitely kicked in the what's the word? It's scratched that itch in my brain that's like, okay, yes, I do want more. Like to the point I'm almost craving it. So life is gonna suck after I finish the 8th episode, but maybe that's my chance to get back into the anime.
I would say it's not gonna suck for you because you got the anime to watch. Me, I have to wait 2 weeks for another chapter.
That's rough. Yeah. That sucks to suck.
There's been more breaks, but it's been so freaking good. Like, it's been considered that we've had probably the last 8 chapters. It was like this is the best 3 chapters we've ever had in a row in One Piece, and now it's probably like this is the best 8 chapters we've ever had in a row in One Piece.
Uh-huh.
Like Shanks just demolished someone a few weeks ago, and it was just like, oh wow, yeah, don't roll up on Shanks like that, idiot.
Which also, that scene with Shanks freaking just looking the sea monster in the eye and being like, "Get lost," was crazy. Oh my gosh! Like, I don't feel like I've felt the intensity of his devil fruit power more than in that moment.
Well, Shanks doesn't have a devil fruit. Spoilers.
Isn't that what is his thing?
So that was hockey.
Okay, he was using hockey.
Yep.
Got you.
But yes, that's the first time it's ever used in the series. We don't really see it for another until next time we see it. I believe is the Giants when they're leaving Little Garden. They're using hockey in their like Ishoku sovereignty attack to kill the goldfish.
Oh, okay.
They like beam up their weapons with it. So
Gotcha.
and then we don't get hockey for another few hundred episodes. But yes,
That was really cool.
those opening scenes. I know some people didn't like Boy Luffy quite as much. I'm really curious about was really curious about the ethnicity of Luffy's mother now, unless they're gonna make his dad black or colored, whatever. I don't know if they know if black would be the term.
Well, I mean, we know that from Oda's list, Luffy's supposed to be like Brazilian.
He is. This is true. So it's just you don't get that.
One of the parents
Oh my gosh.
is Brazilian. So I guess we know that much, but
Yes, and it's there's definitely some liberties taken with the ethnicity of characters, which didn't bother me too much. There are moments where
right.
I was just kind of it took my attention more. Most people it wouldn't bother them, but if you're source material people, I suppose the biggest win, by far the biggest win, is that we still have a ginger in fiction. They didn't change Nami's like ethnicity, which is what Disney loves to do for all of their or anyone that's red haired in other television usually ends up being a black character.
Right. Yeah, I heard about that whole thing. That's pretty wild.
Although Conan did mention that they could have redone her eyebrows. And then I couldn't stop noticing because her eyebrows are still very dark. They don't match. Same thing with Kaya's. I was like, Conan, you ruined everything for me. All right, well,
so
let's wrap up there, and we should do some other sort of meetup to chat. We can chat once you've watched the whole thing, and get your thoughts on the next few episodes.
Final thoughts.
You're gonna get some good Hawkeye. It's a lot of fun.
Sweet. I'm excited.
All right, well, you have an awesome day. I'm gonna go help carrying groceries. So.
You have an awesome day. I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, you go to bed, bro. All right, later, bro.
Peace.